Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development Program, and in particular the AWD 1111.NET Framework with Web Databases class for the fall 2019 semester, I have been creating a series of video presentations, and these presentations are based on the textbook that will be being used for that class, and it's the one shown here, which is Pro ASP.NET MVC, an 8-press text by Adam Freeman. I am in the last chapter, so I'm in Chapter 27 of 27, talking Web API and SPA, or single page application. Alright, we've created our base project, we added a model, and now we're going to come in and add a HomeController, as shown here on page 759 in the text. So, I don't know what I did there. Alright. So, the author says, this is a fairly typical controller for such a simple application. Each action method corresponds directly to one of the methods in the repository, and the only value that the controller adds is to perform model validation, select views, and perform redirections. In a real project, there'd probably be more, but that's fine. Alright, to generate the content for the app, we're going to start by adding our underscore layout file, which you see right here, which will be of course, as always, as by convention, under the views shared. So there's my views. I have no shared folder. I will add a shared folder, and in there I will add my underscore layout. That will be my main view. I gotta spell it correctly. And we will remove what's in it and add our own text right here. Okay. This is a basic layout that has link elements for the Bootstrap CSS files. We've also added 2 layout sections. Alright. We've got a render section for our scripts and a render section for our body. The next step was to create a top level for the application, although I'm going to, through the process of creating an MVC framework app, I know that I'm going to end up with a SPA. That will be easier if I create a single view that contains all the HTML, even if it'll look odd originally. So, the author says that we're going to add an index.cs HTML in our views home folder. Alright, I don't know if that was exactly what I wanted. Now, hopefully what you're going to start seeing is what the author mentioned. And what I mean is that in the act of trying to make this easier to understand, we may make it a little harder to understand. Because as he mentions, by trying to have one index.cshtml file with basically the entire project's worth of views, the view will look kind of boxy or very unorthodox compared to some of the stuff that we've been doing thus far. Looks good. Let's do a file save all. We haven't done that yet. The view model for this view is an enumeration of reservation objects. I rely on two partial views to provide the functional building blocks that the user will see. The first partial view is called summary.cshtml. That is right here. We may have to remember when we make that to make that a partial view. All right. Excuse me. So I'm on page 761. And doesn't say so, but I believe I'm going to want that in here in my home folder. All right, so this is summary, and it will be a partial view. Pasting in what is shown in the text in the middle of page 761. The view model for the partial view is the same enumeration of reservation object. We use it to generate bootstrap-style table elements that display the object property values. We'll use an HTML.ActionLink helper method to generate a link to invoke the remove action on the controller and use Bootstrap to style it as a button. The other partial view, as mentioned here on the bottom of page 761 and going on to 762, will be called editor.cshtml. Don't know why I do that, but I do that. Again, it'll be another partial view. All right, and we are to add it from here. As it says, that the partial view contains a form that can be used to create new reservations. Submitting the form invokes the add action on the home controller. So, start it right here. Add to it on the next page here. All right, so that's got everything in there. Setting the start location. The last step is to set the start location. Well, we've done this umpteen times. So let's come in here, project, web service properties, web, specific page. Okay, so that's done. To test the application in its classic MVC framework form, click Start Debugging from the Visual Studio Debug menu. You will see the slightly odd all-in-one layout. All right, slightly odd because it shows the contents, plus it's got the create right underneath it. All right, so it's got the list. It provides the user with a list of current reservations and the ability to create and delete items. So I'm going to leave that right there, and I'm hoping that this is the way it's going to look when we build it. Again, I have done no preparatory work on this. So File, Save All, and let's run it. following sections have been defined but have not been rendered for the layout page. All right. Scripts and body. Well, okay, for some reason I do have my layout, but it did make that layout fact, and that's the one that I want. So that's what I want here, and I can now remove this layout. Good golly. All right, let's save all, run it again. I promised you at the beginning I wasn't sure if it would work or not work, and I'm proving that to be the case. Now it looks very similar to what you see in the book. So here it is here, and here it is the way they show it in the book. If I wanted to, I could come in here and make it smaller, and then you'd see it does look very similar. This looks very similar to this. All right, so you can see them kind of both side by side pretty much to see what's going on. All right. Oops. All right, we're at only 12.5 minutes. However, the next section is something brand new. It's using Web API. All right, I've already mentioned to you that I'm going through this very, very methodically. Okay, so we will pick it up in just a couple minutes on the top of page 763.